assuming you all did our work for us when you highlighted it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
mainly 'cause, yeah.
Okay. That's what I took it as.
Okay, it's 6:30. We'll get started. I want to welcome everyone to the Grand Cave Fiscal Court meeting for May 21st, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. First thing I want to introduce is Daniel Palmer. He's the youth minister of Williamstown Christian Church. He's going to lead us in prayer, and then after prayer, if everyone can continue to stand, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pray with me. Father, I'm suddenly realizing in this room that I don't know who anyone is, and that I don't have a great grasp of what's going to happen after I leave. Father, I know you. I know your will. And I know that you're a God of very infinite detail and very fine detail. I'm just praying that wherever we are flawed, wherever we do miss things, Father, that you would be there to correct that. That everyone involved today in this room would be good stewards, because you're providing the wisdom, because you're providing the guidance. That whatever happens in this room would be good for the kingdom. We trust you for it. We love you for it. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you write down?
It was cool today, and I didn't turn
I
on
know
my
it's
air.
fine.
Where's that
It's hot
jacket?
at work, but I found out why it's hot at work. 'Cause this girl has a heater underneath her desk, and because you got the place on fire, and it's been hot for 2 days. I'm thinking, why is it hot?
If anybody starts to get cold, let me know. Okay, sorry about that. That's why we got Rodney Howe here, hopefully to take care of some of these problems.
Free commercial.
Okay, if I could have clerk call roll.
Magistrate Riley,
Present.
Magistrate Codarn,
Present.
Magistrate Humphrey,
Present.
and Judge Deals.
Present. Need approval for the minutes. Present a motion for approval of the minutes for a regular meeting dated May 7, 2019.
I make a motion to approve minutes presented this evening for the regular meeting dated May 7th of 2019.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is fiscal matters. Present for review a motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, jail fund, and road fund dated May 21st, 2019, along with transfers as presented.
Make a motion, we approve the claims drawn on the general fund, the road fund, the jail fund dated May 21st, 2019, along with all the transfers as presented for this date.
I will second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to the next item on the agenda is the ordinances. We have ordinance number one, is ordinance number 05-2019-0228. We're present for a first reading ordinance number 05-2019-0228 relating to the 2019-2020 fiscal year annual budget along with the notice running local paper. What we'll need to do is I'll need a motion on the first reading of it, and as soon as we do that tomorrow, Peggy will get that sent off to the Department of Local Government. Once we get that back, then we'll advertise for a second reading of what that date would be.
Do we motion on the first reading?
I think my man.
Yeah, if you, on this one.
Okay. All right. I make a
will.
motion to approve ordinance
2019-0228 relating to the 2019-2020 fiscal year annual budget for the notice to run in the local paper as presented.
I'll second.
I have a second that we'll run this ordinance in the paper as soon as we receive it back from the Department of Local Government. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, you're right, Sean, normally we wouldn't, but
Okay.
on this one we may just because of it being the annual
That
budget.
is okay.
Item number 2 on ordinance, present for a second reading and approval of ordinance number,
Hold on, Jeff. Go to your, I'm sorry, your addition. We need to do the
Oh.
standing order.
Oh, in the back.
yeah. In the back of your packet, we had a addition, you're all familiar with it, it's the standing order. So I need a motion to approve a standing order, pre-approved certain recurring expenses for next fiscal year, and it's the standard that's, and the only thing the auditor allows is the payroll, utility bills, insurance premiums, payments to election officers and election commissioners, so that it doesn't have to be approved at the court meeting.
This allows us also to pay the poll workers so they don't have to wait 2 weeks to get their pay.
And I got, while I was at the election polls, I got asked by an election officer if I would be able to pay them quicker this time around.
We'll get
So
right
I
on
really
that.
need this motion passed.
Okay, I make a motion pertaining to ordinance number 05-2019-0228 for the standing order to pre-approve certain reoccurring expenses. Those include payroll, utilities, insurance premiums, and payments to election officers and to election commissioners.
I second.
I have a second. If there's no further questions, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now moving back onto the main docket, present for second reading and approval of ordinance number 04-2019-0227. It's an ordinance revising the building fees in Grant County, Kentucky, and hereby amends all previous ordinances, namely ordinance number 02-87-44. It was passed on May 21st, 1987. Also amend ordinance number 0688-55. It was passed on November 3rd, 1988. And amend ordinance 02-92-05 was passed on May 5th, 2892, along with the notice to be posted in local papers showing adoption if approved. I need a motion in this to update the current ordinances on the fees.
I make a motion to approve ordinance for the second reading on ordinance number 04-2019-0227, revising the building fees for Grant County, Kentucky, as per the stated amendment.
I will second.
I have a second. Any further questions? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is resolution. Present for a motion to approve resolution number 2019-12, a resolution authorizing the Grant County Judge-Exec Chuck Dills to make application for and upon approval to enter into an agreement with Kentucky Office of Homeland Security to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by Kentucky Homeland Security to facilitate, administer the project, and to act and authorize the correspondence for the project. The project is for a bulletproof vest for the Grant County Sheriff's Department. This resolution has also established procurement policies for Kentucky Homeland Security, approved projects for fiscal year 2019-2020 application cycle. And this is for a grant for the bulletproof vest at 100%.
I'll make a motion, we approve resolution number 2019-12, resolution authorizing the county judge executive Chuck Deals to make application for and upon approval to enter into agreement with the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security to facilitate and administer the project and to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. The project is for bulletproof vest for the Grant County Sheriff's Department.
I will second.
I have a second. If there's no further comment, just to add to that, they currently have vests. Most of them are aged out or starting to age out, so it's time to be replaced. And luckily, we're in up on this grant that they're able to get them at 100% reimbursement cost. All in favor, or
Yeah.
all in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to bids, number one on the agenda is present for acceptance of the bids that were presented at the May 7th meeting for materials and supplies to the Grant County Road Department. As anyone was here last meeting, they were pretty detailed. Pat was able to sit down and put together a spreadsheet to identify all three bids on the materials so that we could do a comparison. If you notice, all of them are highlighted, are the lowest bid for the delivery and of the material. The only one that was off just a little bit was on the salt. Just from previous experience, the concern is a 3 to 5 day delivery from Hudson Materials, where Crupper, after talking to Steve Taban, just knowing this from previous experiences, Kim is, once he's notified, he's able to get it out to the next morning to them. So my recommendation is that we accept all the bids with Kim Crupper Transport for all materials. Now, as far as the oil, Likens Oil and Valor, that's all called for bid. So Pat, as past years, she will contact these two vendors. Is it monthly?
Normally, Chuck, I actually get an email from each one of them every day.
Okay.
And then if Steve calls me and needs me to order the low sulfur diesel, I pull up the two emails, find out who has the lowest price, and that's who I call and order the diesel from.
Okay. So on that one, obviously she'll receive that. On the hot mix base and the hot mix surface, it looks like Bluegrass Paving is quite a bit lower than Eaton Asphalt. So I recommend that we follow the lowest bid there. Marathon Ashland on the RS2, the MC30 or the MC70, they were the lowest bid over top of Hudson Materials. I think that we cover, the breakdown. We had the stone, the RS2 and the MC30 materials, the low sulfur diesel, Bluegrass Paving on the hot mix and surface, and then Kim Crupper on the sand, all the stone, and also the salt materials.
I make a motion to accept those bids that you have called out this evening that are also available for public viewing at their request, should anyone have any questions for the upcoming year.
I second.
I have a second. Any further questions? If not, all in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 on the bids, open bids for 6 rooftop air conditioning units for the Grant County Detention Center. Looks like we have 2 bids we received. On this big knife. Okay, the first one I'm going to open is Howe Heating and Air Condition. Received May 8th, 2019 at 11:50 a.m. by Pat Conrad. Okay, we have one 3-ton rooftop, one 7.5-ton rooftop unit, one 5-ton rooftop unit, 3 2-ton rooftop units,
What was a ton on three? 3 tons?
5 ton?
on 3 of them, they're 2 tons,
2 tons.
one of them 5 tons. Is it all curb and adapters, Rodney? Curb adapters. It's basically, those units you'll put them on the roof and hook them up, correct? $37,757 is the total on all 6 units installed. Our second bid is from Thermal Equipment Services out of Lexington. Received May 17th, 19, 4 p.m. by myself.
Ooh, collecting the mail.
Okay, this is to replace 6 existing Carrier rooftop new units. Demolition, removal of the 6 existing, same, provide and install new curb adapters, provide and install 6 new Carrier gas heat rooftop units with crane, existing deck used. Start up, I'm trying to look and see if they've itemized the units.
Like if they're all the same or?
Yeah. The total price, it looks like, I mean, it's, everything I'm reading, there's a lot of detail that startup, checkout systems, all work's done at normal work hours. Total price is $37,909.82.
We're in the ballpark.
But no clarity on the type of units?
Install crane. Rodney, let me ask you, on the units, you're replacing back with what was there, I mean, ton-wise, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The quote doesn't specify, but I'm sure that he's taken the scope.
And your quote, although it didn't state clearly the removal and the use of a crane, it's,
Yeah,
it was in
Yeah,
there?
right.
yeah,
Okay.
it's all, I didn't go
Okay,
all the way
okay,
down
that's-
through it, it's,
The only thing about the bid is, I have on that recommendations, I would recommend you put tail guards on those.
Okay, I remember this
And I
conversation.
included the price because it wasn't asked for in the bid,
right,
What,
correct.
what do those cost?
about $450 a piece per unit.
Do you remember this conversation that we've had before?
And our deductible's $1,000, and we've had it damaged several times, correct? I said our deductible's $1,000 with the insurance, but we've had hail damage on those units numerous times. Okay. Dave?
Warranty, any, warranty,
Like manufacturer warranty or?
and what about service? Is any,
Rodney, what's the warranty on the units?
It's 1 year on everything except the compressor. The compressor's never packed, because it's broken.
Okay. And for anybody that don't know, Rodney does most of the work on the county's equipment. He's close and he's quick response, so. And obviously, he's cheaper on the price by a few $100 anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So if,
What's the warranty on a competitor bid? Probably doesn't even say.
Those kind of warranties are pretty much industry-wide. It's 1 year on everything and 5 years on the compressor and anything that's part of the Freon unit within it.
spoke evac.
It doesn't even say
Diane,
the
it doesn't
brand.
even, yeah, I think,
Oh, carrier units, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
carrier.
say like the tonnage or the model, does it?
no.
Hmm.
And he was quoting, from my conversation with Jim Shanks, maintenance over there, the quotes were on the existing, replacement of the existing units.
Who does the maintenance on those?
Well, the jail is starting to do the filter changes.
Like they have a Mr. Shanks as the maintenance, as the employee that's slotted for the maintenance position.
Yeah, they've changed all that up since,
Yeah, I went through with Jim, what he needs to do to keep them maintained so that we're not being called up there all the time. He's doing a good job.
you know, big difference. Okay, after reading the two quotes, you all wrote down the price. My recommendation for a motion is that we accept Howe Heating and Air Conditions bid.
Chuck, how soon is that going to start? Like, what's the expectation on a timeline?
What's-
Well, I would expect it would be after July 1st, but
That's why I was wondering, is it this
Directly-
budget, next budget,
yes,
and
yes.
is there any hesitation with that? Like, so today, May 21st, if the expectation is we would want it to be paid out come July 1st in the new budget, is that bid still
or is
good?
there urgencies?
Bid, to me, was good to June 1st.
June, okay,
That was the bid from the company to me was good until June 1st.
Okay.
Except we would sometimes get a price increase in the middle of the year.
okay.
Now, we go ahead and order them and have them delivered later, we could possibly do that and pay it all in July.
I just don't know how much money Peggy's working with.
Well, and that's what I didn't know if it was
Maybe
a
we
now
need to
thing
figure
or
that
like
question.
right at July 1st or even then, because the cash flow is what it is until occupational tax comes in
Well,
quarterly and then
and obviously, the biggest issue right now is we have a lot of money out on road slippages that we're waiting for some major money coming in to replace it.
Well, I don't see how we can't let Ronnie go ahead and
order.
Yeah.
And
I
if
think
he,
we just definitely need to go.
Okay. So if I could have a motion to go on and accept Howe Heating and Air's bid?
I make a motion this evening to accept Howe Heating and Air, is that what you're called? Bid for the 6 carrier units to be replaced on the Grant County Detention Center's roof.
I second.
I have a second. Any further comments, questions? If not,
Did I
all in
say
favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye, sorry. I was
Ayes
thinking,
opposed or?
no, aye, good.
Motion carried.
Sorry, I was sidetracked. I thought I said 6 and then I counted 5 and I'm like, no, I've got 6 here, so. okay.
Go say you
I'm
made
good.
the motion, then.
I know.
I'd be on the
Anybody
know.
against it, you nod your head.
Yeah.
All aye.
Rodney, we'll be getting with you on that.
Oh, hey.
Thank you.
Can I modify that? Because I'd like for us to go ahead and do that, the 450 hail guards. Was that included in that motion?
No, we will need to,
Okay.
we don't
I
need to do a
don't
bid
think
on
the
it.
hail guards were included in the bid anyway,
No.
so we can
No.
go ahead.
Come back and
And
do
we
that?
can-
Okay, all right, just
Well, we
checking.
wouldn't need to bring it full court. That's-
I wouldn't think
Yeah,
so,
we
I
don't
mean,
but
if
just in
somebody's all
case.
agreeable that we would need to do that.
Yeah.
Are you all?
Is everybody on board on that? Okay. We'll get with you on that about installing. I think that's money well spent.
You
Yeah.
want a picture of what happens when you don't put them on there, I've got it.
We've seen
I've
them.
seen it.
That's why I was like,
And
yes, we
those
want
things are
them.
precious. We need to protect them. Okay, moving down to employment appointments. Present for a motion to appoint Savannah Kinsey to serve as a seasonal Parks Department employee at an hourly rate of $11 per hour, effective June 3rd, 2019. And these, there's two on the agenda. These are the ones during the summer that helps Maddie. Maddie's here in the audience if anybody has any questions with all the summer programs that the parks will be putting on.
I'll make a motion, we appoint Savannah Kinsey to serve as seasonal Parks Department employee at an hourly rate of $11 per hour, effective June 3rd, 2019.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, present for motion to appoint Christian Keen Simpson to serve as a seasonal Parks Department employee at an hourly rate of $11 per hour, effective June 3rd, 2019.
I make a motion to appoint Christian Kenny Simpson to serve as a seasonal Parks Department employee at an hourly rate of $11 per hour, effective June 3rd, 2019.
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And just to add to that again before we move, I want to thank Maddie for the work she's doing, and also Tony Hall. If you all have seen, there's a lot they've been doing to the park. They've got the grills in, they're in use. I was down there Saturday with my family, got to use the parks and saw that several of the grills had been used. So that was a good add-on, and I've met with her on several projects they have going on during the summer and the fall. So
Maddie, do you already have a calendar of events that you could share with us? Like, have you already published that? Okay. Will you email us that so we have it as well?
It's also, I think, on our webpage.
Is it already on the website too?
Yes.
Okay, then I can get it from there. Oh, okay. Okay, good. I'll check there.
then,
Thank you.
Brian, when's that coming out in the paper? There's calendars going to be coming out, isn't it? Next week in the paper. So you can get on the website and read it in the paper.
And also, to be able to draw through membership, that's going to give me the ability to add more things. Like, we're doing a line this year, we did last year, we're going to try to get a couple of these. We did that the last time we did it was the Colton working, and we didn't have a big turnout, so we kind of let that rest for a couple of years, and we're going to revisit that this year.
Got it.
And also, I got to thank, Tony has been doing a great job, but also Jason and George and the inmates that Mike allows us to use. Those have been really crucial in the projects that we've done. They did all the concrete work for the grills, and I met with Jason and George this morning. I ordered some shade sails that are going to go into some areas for the parents with little kids, where some of the playground equipment is. And so, to have them help is huge. I had met with Chuck about letting me borrow them, whenever, I can, and he's been great about that. So just all this pulling together is really been able to get a lot of stuff done. I really appreciate it.
Good, Ginger. We have Keen with us. Did you have a speech, Keen? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, be ready to work this summer. A lot of projects going on. Moving down to new business, present for a motion to accept with regret the resignation of Karen Atha from the Grant County 109 Solid Waste Board. I need a motion to accept her resignation. You have a copy of it. It's actually an email to Brian Miles, and I won't go into detail publicly, but there are just some issues that she just couldn't serve.
Make a motion to accept the resignation of Karen Atha from the Grant County 109 Solid Waste Board.
I'll second it.
I have a second. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to board appointment, after she had emailed with reasons she couldn't really serve on the 109 board for us, I had the 109 board submit names to me. There was 2 names they submitted. One of them, that person that's they submitted, he's currently serving as a chair in one of our other boards, and I just like to try to keep the boards all with how people serve in duplicate. So the second one they had sent was Debbie Lucas Angel, because of her background with environmental protection. They were requesting if we would appoint her on it. I actually spoke to Debbie on the phone. She was excited to serve, and I'm asking for a motion to appoint Debbie Lucas Angel to serve as a member of the Grant County Solid Waste 109 Board effective May 21st, 2019, and she would be expiring the term that Karen Atha had at December 31st, 2020. So it'll be filling out that term.
I make a motion that we appoint Debbie Lucas Angel to serve as a member of the Grant County 109 Solid Waste Management Board under the term agreements of May 21st, 2019 to expire December 31st, 2020.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to Judge Executive Report, I pretty well spoke for Maddie in the parks. I just, like I said, I want to commend her again for job well done, and she was right. The Class D program has been a great asset, not only at the parks, but the mowing, the landscaping. I mean, and I'm going to leave out a bunch, but picking up the trash and the roadside dumping. It's been made a big difference in the county with that. Other than attending meetings and several different trainings, things are going real smooth. We're still trying to get some of the road slippages out, waiting on this next fiscal year so that we can get some of our road aid funds going and start paving some of our roads. So also, Mike Webster, I excused him and the sheriff's office tonight. Everybody's wanting to try to get mowing done. But Mike Webster reported to me that they have the county inmates are 50, state inmates are 262, with several more coming in here soon, a total of 312 inmates in the jail. On the sheriff's report, main thing I wanted to add, and most of you know that they just had 2 graduate last week, Brennan and Travis, and they'll be back on the streets. Brennan was filling in as a poll worker because they were short, so he was working today as a poll worker, but will be working tomorrow. After that, jumping down to magistrates, anything, Jacqueline, you want to add?
As a group, we all had the opportunity to attend the chamber breakfast yesterday. There were several updates pertaining county-wide that I just wanted to take a moment to share, especially for those of you that may be seeking to get more engaged in the community from a volunteer standpoint. July 20th in Grant County, we will host the 2nd annual triathlon. And so they're seeking several volunteers, mostly from a safety standpoint, but to also help organize for the race. So see Jamie Baker Nance if you're interested in that. Again, that's July 20th, and it's quickly approaching. And if you weren't involved in that, and even if you don't run, swim, or bike, it is pretty awesome to cheer on folks. They're planning to have around 300 participants this year. And so if you want to bring your dog or your child or someone else and just watch them finish here at downtown Williamstown, it's a pretty cool thing to participate in, even as a spectator. We also have our 2nd annual Farm to Table event that will take place on September 20th. Again, there will only be 150 tickets sold this year, so going for that exclusive type of experience. The goal is to have that farm-to-table dinner hosted outside on US 25 Main Street in Williamstown. If weather doesn't cooperate like it didn't last year, we will likely move that to the extension office in the cattleman's barn. And tickets will go on sale shortly. They will be available in only 2 locations, and that will be at the City of Williamstown or at the Chamber office. And then further down, August 15th through the 25th, the State Fair is happening. And again, if you're interested in volunteering, even if you're not a Chamber member, Jamie Baker always welcomes folks to volunteer. You're given a pass to get into the fair in addition to a parking pass. And so if that's something that you'd like to do to work at the Grant County booth, it's pretty neat to participate and to tell folks what's happening here in Grant County and all the things that you could see and do. And so she's seeking volunteers to work that booth as well. And then lastly, I'll let Shauna share an update on a pretty cool thing we went and saw because that's in her district. But I also want to thank my peers for taking a field trip on Monday morning where we got to go out and see the South Blanchett construction bridge, the Norfolk Southern Bridge that's being replaced. And they're making progress, lots of concrete, lots of dirt moved, lots of big equipment. And I told Chuck that if he does an unannounced field trip again, I'm pretty tired of wearing high heels when we go out in the field because I have several pairs of boots. But I'm pleased with that, and hopefully we'll get an update that maybe we can have run in the paper as far as what the timeline's looking like, because many folks are eager to see are they on track, off track, and also with the connector road. And so lots happening there. So I just wanted to thank my peers for coming out in my neck of the woods to see what's happening with that bridge there, because it's pretty exciting. So take it over.
Take it over. First, I'd like to thank the Williamstown Women's Club. They did provide the beautification of the flowers and things in front of the courthouse, and I just wanted them to be recognized for that.
Pat's on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
Peggy is also a member.
Thank you, Peg.
Thank you, ladies.
We also planted some flowers over by Tabitha's wall, but they haven't come up yet, so.
Okay.
I saw the grass there too that was put in. So.
Yeah.
Also, you can't say that we don't have things to do in Grant County, because there is a lot to do in Grant County. You just, sometimes I don't know if it's advertised as well, but on last Friday we did have the Relay for Life. Not well attended as we would have liked, but it was a very quality program. As of last Friday, the Relay for Life for Grant County had raised over $20,000. Jamie Baker is head of that with her leadership team, and she had mentioned that Grant County is the only county in Kentucky now that still has the actual Relay for Life. So I thought that was, I thought that was a compliment to our county. The Kiwanis did provide a supper for all these survivors, and it was very, very nice. Also, I believe on Monday, and I don't have the exact time, 11 o'clock at the Veterans Cemetery, they will have the annual memorial service up there. It's a very, very, very nice service. I've attended every year since I've been magistrate, but it's a very filling experience up there. Also, we have a museum coming to Grant County. Starting, the grand opening, I believe, is next Friday. It's called Patriots Landing, and it's a...
It's this.
That's what I meant, this Friday. Yeah, this Friday, and the ribbon cutting ceremony is
Saturday at 10.
Okay,
This coming Saturday.
But it's, the gentleman who started the museum is the one who builds the wooden boxes, has the veterans do that on Operation Honor over from Owenton.
Joe Montgomery, and he spoke here at one of our meetings.
Yeah, and I think we're lucky to have that. I'm anxious to go in there and see it and, see how it's going to work. Also, Uncle Leroy's is open. I don't know if any of you have been up there yet. They will be having a grand opening later, but you can go in the store now. They've got wonderful baked goods, chocolates, but it's a really neat store. One of the things that the chamber and the tourism find out is that when people come to Grant County, they want an experience, and this is the trend that Uncle Leroy's is trying to do, is to create an experience, from people visiting the Ark, and just to get them in here and, let them enjoy the community. Last night, I did attend the Dry Ridge Council meeting, and the Dry Ridge Council did approve an interlocal agreement to be dispersed with Corinth, the court here, the Crittenden, and Weemstown regarding the emergency ambulance service. So that's going to be forthcoming in the future. What it amounts to is roughly about $316.45 per run for right now. The specifics on that, I'm sure, will be coming out in the paper this coming, I don't know if it'll make it this week or next week, but, and the specifics on the interlocal agreement, we've not really seen it ourselves, so, but they did go over the details of it in the council meeting, so, and I think that's about it.
Still following up on some of the complaints I've had earlier in the year down in District 3, and looks like the majority of the complaints that we've had in District 3 has been taken care of or being worked on as we speak. Things are going good. Been going through the park. Park people down there are just fabulous, keeping things out and going. Park looks better now than it ever has, in my opinion. I mean, it went downhill.
I agree.
It really went downhill, but it's starting to come back, and I'm proud to see that, and still got a long ways to go, but it didn't go down overnight, and it can't be put back up overnight either. So with that being said, that's all I got.
Okay. Do we have Steve Tatum here? Steve, anything you want to?
Like to make the public aware that we are hauling the right of way. Be vigilant, watch for our tractor.
And we posted on Facebook, which all of you saw the post on Facebook, just letting people know they're out mowing the county roadsides. And I noticed some comments on there, some locations that needed to be mowed that were state highways. So.
Do you think it's worthwhile to shoot us a message to let us know what day, like on today, this is where you're going to be, to post out there? Do you think that's worthwhile to give people a heads up that way too? Like, here's a couple roads we anticipate getting to this week or the next couple days, weather pending.
We're in the Crittenden area now. Roger's seen tractor today, and they're plowing. In the second district, he's in the Gulf Valley area. Worked his way around there. In the first district, they're in Corinth. Springtown, Ragtown, Morgan Creek.
We can add, because we're continuously adding to our Facebook page, letting people know what's going on and what's being done. So
We're doing pretty good so far. Tractors are rolling out.
Have we ticked up the new one?
not yet.
Not yet.
That-
What are we waiting on?
Money.
Money.
What? Okay.
A lot of road
I know.
funds that
Okay.
we're waiting to get.
Well, Peggy
sent
will let
back
us
to
know as soon as some reimbursement comes in, so we can run down 25 and we can
Hey,
drive
Peggy.
it home if we want.
Peggy shoots the emails out the minute she receives the checks.
Thank you. Thank you, Peggy.
Just want to reiterate that it's not that we are, per se, don't have the
No.
money, it's just the flow of it with
Yes,
the
there's-
magnitude of the slippages.
Peggy, how much do we have? How much do we have out right now on reimbursement?
That's what I was going to
Yeah,
say, close to $1 million, I thought.
$900,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got that Mason Road, just got that tax back in the other day. I'm looking for that. I look in the account every day, because they do that direct deposit. It does say,
Yes.
Do you think that'll come direct deposit, Peggy? It didn't the last time. The flex money came in a check.
Did it? Oh, that's right. I think that came in.
Electronic.
But you can tell they.
So yeah, that's a good chunk of money that we've paid out,
That we're waiting.
that we're waiting to get
And
reimbursed.
we will get reimbursed for it. It's
Matter of
Yes.
timing.
it's a timing issue.
Yeah, just all of it hit at one time.
But it had to be done.
Yes. So moving down to citizens' address, anyone in the audience, Diane? Yeah, well, the only reason is the mic picks you up and the camera does, so.
I just wanted to ask for clarification. In the Dry Ridge meeting, they voted to offer an interlocal agreement to the cities, or did they vote to sign an interlocal agreement with the cities
Well,
and
it
the
was-
county? There's a distinction.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for clarification.
Specifically, they just approved an interlocal agreement. Now,
How do you approve an interlocal agreement? You have to have two signing parties for that.
I think it was just the language of what the
of the
interlocal
agreement.
agreement, but it's not.
Okay, so they
any
approved
governing
the
body.
language in order to offer an
Yes.
interlocal
Yes,
agreement
yes.
They
to.
approved it with their council that it's agreeable
It's-
with them. Now, they're
now
going to
they
take it
have
to the
to-
other legislative bodies and make sure it's agreeable with them.
yes.
Okay, I wanted to know, did they discuss, this is a pretty exact number, $316.45.
Yes.
What was the basis on the calculation for that, or did they disclose that? Is this based upon a cost reimbursement model, which was the prior model that was offered by Mr. Wells and his administration, or is this price based on a different type of pricing model?
Different type. It was based off of the calls, but the geographic boundaries had changed, is what the biggest issue was. It had changed.
In addition to the fact that, so far, what the proposal looks like is that Dry Ridge, if you recall, the original model did not account for the cost of the fire department. And so that model now, it takes in total for Dry Ridge, not just the city limits of Dry Ridge, but what their firing district covers. So that large chunk has been cut out of the amount.
So were they able to designate their cost that they're looking to reimburse on just EMS, or is it still intermingled with their cost to operate their fire?
It's just EMS.
How much money are they receiving per person on average for insurance reimbursements? Did they talk about their the amount of, I should say, the amount of runs that are they're unable to collect on?
Yes, Diane, and I'll be honest, I don't have any of that in front of me. I've had that conversation with them.
What are
And
the
that may be a
terms in the
question.
IL, what are the terms that they're offering? What are the termination clauses, and what are the long terms? Is this on a year-by-year basis?
It has to be a year by year because that's per statute.
And to be clear or transparent, we've not even seen the interlocal agreement yet.
Yeah, we
Not-
don't.
And we've not even seen a copy of it.
How does the fiscal court plan on paying for this?
The court,
You all-
General fund?
If you were to sign in this, you have the money in your budget?
It would have to be paid out of the general fund.
Yes.
Now, the statute does allot already $10,000 automatically per a
it's a
house bill.
grant. It's a $10,000 grant.
That doesn't cover nearly the amount of, if the
I
When
know,
you
but I'm
see
just
this, Diane,
saying.
it's drastically changed
Oh,
than
yeah,
what
it's-
you
It
are
has,
familiar
yes, it
with.
has.
well,
It's
well,
the pendulum, it's completely different.
well, what's interesting is that 316 isn't much far off
It
from
isn't
the
16 and 15 cents, $16.50
45 cents.
or so.
Is
yeah.
it much different than the value that was floated before, which is
But
why
the
I was
form-
wondering how the
formula's
calculation was
changed.
done.
It's changed the
Yes.
overall cost.
The FAR district situation is what really changed in the composition from the first plan. Far District, the Dry Ridge Far District covers over into the Jonesville area.
Close to Jonesville,
Dry
Mount
Ridge, Mount
Zion.
Zion. It is
Large.
It is a large area, and they had conceded to accept that as, it was even like county area, but since it was in their fire district, they conceded to accept that as part of their cost run.
Right, so the district or the general area that would be covered by the fiscal court, by the county's contribution, is going to be less.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
As a result of that
I believe
financial.
before the original price when it came up was just going to cover the city limits, anything outside their city limits, the county was going to have to pay for.
I'm very, very well aware of how the other
Yeah.
calculation was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah,
It's
it was-
substantially, it's totally different.
Once they stepped up to the plate and they said, well, this is our fire coverage area, we're going to have to accept that as part of our cost.
That they're already collecting, the $25 property dues for.
I thought the $25 property dues goes towards their fire.
It is, but that they took that amount out because there was really no way to separate it, and that's what drastically lowered the cost to the county and to the cities to participate in this interlocal agreement.
You said that they were able to take out their cost to run their fire department.
Yes, they what is it, about
Yeah,
700 and some thousand or so?
It's
is
just
what-
under 800,000 is what's going to still be
Is what
their
they
part.
predicted that in this model, this new model, that they're accounting for.
Yeah,
in the city
basically
of
what Dry Ridge is
Ridge's
asking
cost.
for us is to cover their manpower staff
Yes.
that's outside the city limits.
For EMS.
Not
For
equipment.
EMS, not any
Yeah,
of the
just
material
EMS.
or just to assist with what it takes to run the EMTs.
What's their deal, or have they offered a deal with the cities
Yes.
to
They've
provide
done
to give them a price break if they provided people from their volunteer fire department to run the ambulances?
The way that works, Diane, because the city of Dry Ridge owns the certificate of need, those employees have to be part-time or full-time staff of the city of Dry Ridge. For an example, Lonnie Kuhn, that is the fire chief of Corinth. As that Dry Ridge ambulance sits in Corinth, he actually is on payroll in order to fall underneath their insurance coverage and their protocols, because they're the only ones that have the certificate of need. So if Williamstown or Crittenden wanted to have staff run any of their ambulance, they would have to go through the trainings, the protocols, and be under payroll for Dry Ridge.
And then they would get a kickback or cut back or cut in
They would
pay
be
or
paid.
something?
They would be compensated whether they were part-time or full-time, and so that will be details, should this move forward, if an ambulance is staffed in the north end of the county in Crittenden, that I'm assuming will follow the same model for any of those employees that want to staff and are certified, whether it be the BLS or the advanced life support. For those credentials, they would have to fall underneath the Certificate of Need of Dry Ridge and their payroll and coverage for health insurance and liability and protocol.
What was AMR's competitive offer?
I haven't
I
seen
don't have it in
anything.
front of us, but it was 400,000 last year when they were discussing it.
AMR asked for $400,000 to provide service.
I
for
think
the
it's
county.
even
that
higher
was-
than
that
that.
was prior to me.
I mean,
I
that's
don't-
been, there's not been any new proposals or recommendations that I'm aware of since, that's been a year and a half ago or so.
Is the county going to seek an alternative competitor offer?
Well, Greg Rose had told me at the Crittenden Council meeting that it was the same as they offered. I'll look that figure up. But I mean, it was over 400,000. And I think we get this interlocal agreement, then
Yeah, we'll
you'll
know.
be able to see why that we're excited about this. I mean, it's way down.
So what do you estimate is our total financial exposure
Under
Probably-
$50,000.
Annually.
annually?
Yeah.
And then each
Wish I
of
had
the
my
cities have been presented the proposal as well. And so then they have their fair share based off the call volume of last year.
And for this to work, everyone has to be in agreement, you know.
Correct. So more to
Yeah.
come as this interlocal agreement was discussed at the City of Dry Ridge.
And that's the reason that, you know, the cost, one, the calculation, the formula they were going with on the staffing, but also the other cities are sharing it, and they've presented it before the other city councils, and as far as I
Besides
know.
Corinth.
Besides Corinth, that Williamstown and Crittenden are on board with it.
And Williamstown is almost as big as player as the overall county limits are.
Are you sure our financial exposure is 150,000 total?
Say what? What was the question?
Our financial exposure for the county to pay $316.45 based upon, let's take last year's, based upon the expected amount of runs for the county, is going to be around $150,000?
No. No, the county's portion that
You
that
talking about the county or the overall county and cities all?
yeah.
I'm
Are you
a
asking
county.
for-
I'm asking the question for the county.
Just for the county, it's gonna be under
Less than
50,000.
50,000.
Under 50,000?
Yes.
Because
And that's why I'm
that
telling you
math.
folks, the
Diane.
formula that they presented,
Yeah,
you
we don't,
cannot
Diane, we
compare
don't
it
have
to.
the figures.
50,000
that-
divided by 345, or 315. Anybody got a calculator?
Why 300 and something?
Because you said that that's how much is the run, and our financial exposure is $50,000. So I'm going to try to calculate how many runs do you think that $50,000 is going to cover for the county?
Well, it's not as simple as that because of insurances and,
158 runs.
Yeah, 316 and 50,000.
So the reallocating of the area, distribution must have cut out a whole lot.
It did.
Because it
It
was
really,
well over
really did.
1,000 runs,
Yeah.
if you recall from
Dry Ridge
last
Fire
year.
District's one of the largest fire districts in the county.
Yes.
Okay. Go.
And they were 50/50 with AMR.
Correct.
Into the county. The last data that I had was that they were 50/50, and is it going to stay that way? AMR likes to do the transporting from St. E out here into Florence.
That's where the money is.
Well, exactly. So,
But they did pick up 50% of the runs. So
And that will continue because they also have a certificate of need.
if they decide to stay in this area, it depends
If
on
they
if they're
decided.
making enough money on the transports,
Believe me,
right?
they're making enough money off those transports. And they are for profit. And if you don't pay the bill, they'll come and repo something or take you through civil court.
so the
So if they're making so much money off of that, what makes you think that they wouldn't take up doing the EMS runs at no additional out-of-pocket expense for the residents of the county?
They've not made that offer. And they know the situation. It's been going on for how many years? And they've not come forward and said, here is what we can do for you.
For so many years, they've been providing 50% of the runs without asking for a cent.
So is Dry Ridge.
So has Dry Ridge, right?
But now it's just like if you watch Channel 12 News, Pelton County right now is in such a financial bind on EMS that they're getting ready to do away with EMS completely. And Campbell County is saying, we're not coming over there to pick up the slack because we can't afford it.
well,
EMS is
they
just-
were going to have 2 ambulance, and if they go to 1, Campbell County isn't interested in continuing to provide relief because of their budget can't continue to have 2 ambulance in Pendleton. They could only account for 1, and Owen County has their own situation going on as well.
In a
Is this going to be
comment made from some of the
voted,
other
is this going to be
counties
put
that have
up for a vote
county-based
for the county
ambulances.
employees
Do
to
what?
decide on? Would this be put up for a vote for the county employees to decide on?
County employees?
Or not employees, but
County
county residents, sorry about that, I
If you want to
misspoke.
go to an EMS district, you would have to get signatures and you would have to
Put it on
put
the
it up
ballot.
on the ballot.
It would have
But
to go to a taxing district then.
It would have to go to a tax.
Oh, I wouldn't suggest doing that, but.
You would?
Yeah,
No, I
Okay,
would
well,
not.
that-
No,
Based upon my
that's what we're-
research on
That's
texting.
what we're
We
trying
don't, we
to not
don't,
do.
I
No.
don't support that either. It's just,
No.
it's even more than what the current.
I mean, the bottom line is, we're trying to share the expense outside the city limits of Dry Ridge, which, like I said, that boundary changed with them to make sure that we have an ambulance service.
Right.
And for the money that they're offering to the cities and the county is reasonable. And AMR, like you said, have we got a bid from AMR? Greg Rose told me personally at the Crittenden Council meetings was leaving that the price they gave last time, and I don't have it in front of me, but it was over 400,000. So, and this is year to year.
AMR did give a very brief presentation at the Crittenden Council meeting the night that Chuck and I was there. And basically, their numbers had not changed either. They were still wanting, and I don't even know that number, but they were still wanting whatever had been previously presented.
Is that 400,000 for the entire county? Or was that
No,
400,000?
That 400,000 was going to be our portion, is the way I understood it, correct?
I'll be honest, I wasn't part of the, other than the audience. I'm really not comfortable discussing it because I
Okay.
wasn't
Yeah.
a part of it.
I don't remember either, but I know our portion was a lot more than what's presented to us now.
Would you agree that it might be prudent for the fiscal court to invite AMR to give a presentation so the fiscal court could better understand what they could do for the county, so you can compare it to the ILC or interlocal agreement that's being offered by the business of Dry Ridge EMS?
We can, I mean, Dry Ridge Ambulance Service is another municipality within our county.
Yeah,
AMR is a private entity.
right.
I don't know that I really want to go into deep conversation with a private entity when a local government is offering us to pick up a little bit of their cost outside their city at a reasonable fee of what they're asking for. After knowing what AMR, is offering, I mean, that's what they were offering a year and a half ago was $400,000. So
For the whole county?
I don't think that was for the whole county.
I just
We
know that
really
400
don't know what they offered. We would
I
have to
can't
go back and
remember. I was
look at
on Crittenden
our
Council at the
notes,
time.
right?
And I remember the numbers they presented, but I don't have those numbers in front of me now. I guess my question would be for Mr. Bates is, being AMR is
Bates isn't here.
He's gone, he's gone over the election results are
Okay.
coming in, so he's over there.
Can we even enter into an interlocal agreement with a private corporation? I don't know if we can legally.
Probably not. You'd probably contract them just like you contract any other private
We would have to put
company,
it out for bids, and
right?
I don't think there's any comparison right now to even have a
Okay.
conversation.
If they'd already indicated that whether the 400 and some thousand, because honestly, I legitimately don't remember. It was somewhere between 400 and a half a million, but Diane, I don't even recall if it was just the countywide portion or if that was the
Yeah.
full mechanism. But if that was what they'd stated to you, that the proposal
Yeah,
is what that was,
even if it's
the
a full
dollar amounts
mechanism,
don't
our
even,
portion of it would be,
a couple 100,000 probably,
yes,
if it wasn't full.
because they weren't going by fire districts, they were going by unincorporated areas of the county.
So when the fiscal court reviews the offered interlocal agreement, will you be asking for an estimated financial liability based upon last year's numbers appropriated to the district redistricting so that you can kind of estimate how much you're going to have to budget for?
Actually, that's what they provided.
50 calls?
They provide.
No,
No, they
I don't have it in front of me
It was
because we don't have the interlocal
147.
agreement.
Yeah, we don't have the
Yeah, I mean,
local
I
agreement.
wasn't prepared because we don't have it on the agenda for discussion.
Oh,
So,
okay.
I just mentioned it, happened to mention it in my thing that they.
I do know one thing, Diane, like in conversation, although we haven't seen the proposal, what the interlocal agreement contains. One thing that we had asked for when we had a chance to speak to the fire chief is that from a general housekeeping standpoint and planning is that somewhere in there will be language on a quarterly basis. The mayors and the judge executive would meet with the Dry Ridge Fire Department to stay close to this, because the reality is, in full transparency, what we are attempting to do isn't replicated anywhere in the state of Kentucky. And so from a planning standpoint, budget related. Calls can go up, calls could go down. Insurance collection could look different. We've asked that it be year to year so that we could plan, and that that we stay close to this on a quarterly basis, because this is new.
Yeah.
And our neighbors, our more rural neighbors, are struggling to pay for any type of service, and none of us I don't want to go into an EMS district, which will be hundreds and hundreds of thousands, probably $1.5 million would be necessary, maybe $2 million to buy the equipment. And for the first time, I was like, oh, this formula, that we've been privy to was more realistic. Because it's complicated. Insurance is involved. It's only going to work if the cities partner with the county as well, because at the end of the day, we don't have an EMS district to pay millions of dollars per year, and I don't think that's what the citizens want. And so I had indicated I could support doing a year to year to see how this goes, to help offset financially the city of Dry Ridge. And also with this proposal, when they cut out the obligation of the fire, which I think many of us, when we were on that journey, we were like, why would the county have to double pay? Why would a citizen have to double pay for fire coverage when many of us are paying the $25 property tax due? So that was a huge, I think, game changer with this new formula, when Dry Ridge City Council and that fire chief and the new mayor was like, you know what, we're going to keep that obligation for us. To help make it more affordable. And that's what I've seen so far. And again, haven't seen the language of the interlocal agreement. I'm very curious about it, because at the end of the day, this governing body has to vote on it, and so does all the municipalities as well, in order for it to work.
And I do recall in yesterday evening's meeting that there was something mentioned in the interlocal agreement about a quarterly meeting of all the stakeholders.
So the formula and the price is set on recouping a reimbursement for their labor for the EMS staff?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And that's around, what, don't hold me to this, 700,000, 650, somewhere around there. Which, if you remember, wasn't it like 1.4, 1.2, some other proposals we had seen?
Right, their cost to operate was approximately 1.3 something million, is what they stated.
The cost to operate was down to like 700 and some thousand. And the amount that wasn't covered was 400 and some thousand, from what I can remember.
Right. So their cost to operate, if it's down 700,000, did they give us a credit for the amount of compensation they will get from insurance claims?
That was all included.
That's all included in the calculation of the 316.45? How many people do they have on staff for EMS?
Quite a few. There was three full-time, 3 part-time.
Oh, actually, I think I have it written down for my notes from before.
From
I
last
can get
time,
that.
was it 3?
I don't have the papers with me.
It's quite a few.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
The journey will continue, Diane, on this.
Good day.
Can I just bring up a couple of points on that?
Sure.
Number one, AMR never approached the county, to my knowledge, in all the meetings I've sat in. When they made a run to the county, they never approached the county asking for money for that run. This was strictly Dry Ridge that started this, because they were going out into the county, and it was the taxpayers of Dry Ridge that was paying the bill.
Correct.
And if a citizen out in the county had insurance, then, but it seems like Dry Ridge told the insurance companies they would take $200 a run out. I mean, that was the payment. That's up here. The insurance company would pay Dry Ridge, and I'm trying to figure out why Dry Ridge would even make that. So, and Judge, you're right. It's apples and oranges. I mean, you can't take a for-profit entity and compare it to a government entity, because government is not supposed to make money. So, the other thing is the interlocal. I thought that was between the cities and Dry Ridge, period. The county isn't into that at all. I mean, that's an agreement that Williamstown makes with Dry Ridge, Crittenden, Corinth about ambulance service. To me, out in the county, that's where the court should kick in, or the county's responsible, because that's like a taxi cab ride. I mean, that's in simple terminology, that's all it is, a taxi cab ride for somebody that lives out in the county. And to me, the county should kick into Dry Ridge for that run. And that's to be negotiated, what that value is for a taxi cab ride, because that's what it is. The other thing is, I think you need to have two stipulations at least as far as the county's responsibility. Number one, for them to pick up somebody out in the county, it's got to be a resident of the county for the county to pay for that run. I mean, to pay part of that ride. And the other thing is, and it may sound mean to you or whatever, but I would put the limit to 3 runs to any one resident if it's drug related in 1 year's time. And I know there's a law that they can't say why they made the run and all this stupid stuff, but to make 3 runs in 30 days drug related to the same address, there's something wrong with the thinking if nobody does anything about it, because these people need help. But I think there's limits that we need to look at, dealing with this. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? If not, I want to remind everyone we have our next meeting will be June 4th, 2019, here at 6:30 p.m. And I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn and to reconvene on June 4th.
I second.
I have a second. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.